Under the shattered remnants of New Avalon's flickering neon, Kai Mercer stood defiant at the precipice of oblivion. His eyes, fierce and haunted, mirrored the scars of a lost past, while the cold hum of distant engines throbbed like a battle drum in his chest. The void of space whispered of despair, yet in that electrifying moment, every beat of his heart vowed rebellion, a promise to defy destiny, reclaim honor, and ignite hope amidst the ruin. New Avalon, a colossal orbital metropolis circling a dying Earth, sprawled before him like a mausoleum of forgotten dreams. Crumbling structures intertwined with neon glows and holographic billboards told tales of human ambition and decay. In the labyrinthine corridors of the once proud command center, every rusted panel and scorched bolt echoed with resilience, while the mingled scent of burning circuitry and aged metal bore witness to past glories and losses. Kai Mercer, a former military tactician hardened by relentless battles, carried his personal history like a heavy shroud. Each scar etched upon his face narrated a silent story of sacrifice, memories of a catastrophic explosion that had claimed his family and shattered his faith in a merciless universe. Yet amid the pain, a burning determination kindled within him, a promise to resurrect the fading embers of hope and challenge the oppressive forces that sought to subdue humanity. As he navigated the deserted corridors, the distant echo of alarms stirred an urgent disquiet. Whispers of rebellion fluttered through the dark halls, a secret rallying cry from kindred spirits clinging to dreams of freedom. Yet, with every measured step, the looming shadow of alien dominion pressed in, a constant reminder that hesitation could seal their fate. In that suspended moment, the future teetered on the knife edge between salvation and annihilation. Within the twilight of broken ideals and emerging courage, Kai Mercer made a silent vow beneath the unyielding gaze of distant stars. He would be the beacon that rekindled humanity's defiant flame, steering them from despair into a reborn future. In the dim light of an abandoned archive room aboard New Avalon, shadows of the past crept through every corner. Dust motes danced in the faint glow of malfunctioning holoscreens as Kai Mercer moved slowly along rows of forgotten data, each a silent testament to what had been lost. The room's stale air carried whispers of old tragedies, evoking memories that refused to be buried. A single holovid flickered to life on a cracked terminal. The image was grainy, the colors washed out, but the voice it carried was unmistakable, a cold, emotionless cadence that sent shivers down Kai's spine. Supreme Regent Tixalor, draped in the regalia of a long-forgotten authority, addressed a crowd of obedient aliens in a cavernous hall. His voice, precise and unyielding, echoed off the walls. Humanity's chaos must be tamed for the balance of the cosmos. Those words, delivered with chilling detachment, were the harbinger of a terror that had reshaped Kai's destiny. They resonated like the toll of a death knell, each syllable marking the moment when order was imposed through violence and ruthlessness. Kai's breath hitched as he stared at the display, his mind involuntarily drifting back to that fateful day. He remembered the explosive burst of fire that had ripped through his home, the searing heat that had melted steel and hope alike. In his mind's eye, he saw the chaotic ballet of destruction, the shrill cries of anguish, the clamor of collapsing structures, and the haunting final screams of those who had once believed in a peaceful tomorrow. The memory was as vivid as if it were unfolding anew. The acrid stench of burning debris, the bitter tang of despair in the air, and the relentless pounding of his heart as he raced against time to save those he loved. At the center of the room, a battered filing cabinet held relics of a life before the invasion. Kai's trembling fingers reached out and grasped a faded photograph, its edges softened by years of handling. In the sepia-toned image, smiles and laughter belied the promise of a future that would never come. As his knuckles tightened around the photograph, a wave of sorrow mixed with resolute defiance surged within him. "I won't let their rules define us," he whispered, his voice a fragile blend of grief and determination. The room itself seemed to mourn with him. Walls lined with obsolete memorabilia, scuffed medals, handwritten diaries, and news clippings reporting the sudden onslaught, served as grim reminders of a world lost to tyranny. Each relic, bathed in the soft, sorrowful hum of the failing lights, narrated a story of hope dashed and futures stolen. The scattered fragments of human resilience now lay like broken glass, sharp with the pain of memory. In that silent sanctuary of remembrance, Kai allowed himself a moment of vulnerability. The reverberations of that catastrophic day pulsed in his veins, a searing reminder of why he had chosen the path of rebellion. His thoughts tangled with images of his family, their faces a kaleidoscope of love and laughter that had been extinguished by the relentless advance of an alien empire. The very air felt heavy, with the collective grief of those who had perished under the weight of a regime that valued order above the essence of life itself. Yet even as sorrow threatened to drown him, the resolve within Kai hardened. Each memory of loss was a spark, a catalyst that fueled the fire of his rebellion. The sight of Zeller's emotionless decree on the flickering screen became a symbol of everything that was wrong with the universe. A universe where a single voice could silence the cry of millions. With every fiber of his being, Kai vowed that no further lives would be sacrificed to the cold, calculated pursuit of cosmic balance. He stepped away from the terminal, leaving behind the echoes of enforced order and despair. In the fading light, the archive room transformed into a mausoleum of lost dreams, a sacred ground where the past was honored not with resignation, but with the promise of resistance. As he walked out, the gentle hum of the station's failing systems merged with the persistent beat of his heart, a metronome counting down to the moment when he would reclaim the stolen future. Kai Mercer carried the weight of his memories like armor, each scar, each loss, a reminder of the high cost of defiance. And in that quiet chamber of echoes, the seeds of rebellion took root, nurtured by the pain of yesterday and the burning hope for tomorrow. In the heart of Syros, beneath the cold, unyielding gaze of a distant barren moon, lay the sprawling labyrinth of a makeshift shipyard, a sanctuary for the defiant and the desperate. The cavernous space pulsed with a cacophony of metal-clanging welders' sparks dancing like fireflies against the backdrop of humming generators and ancient cooling systems. Here, amid the gritty blend of oil and ionized air, humanity's hope was taking shape. Every surface bore the scars of relentless struggle, riveted steel panels pockmarked with corrosion, wires coiled like serpents, and blueprints pinned to aging workbenches with ink fading from countless nights spent under flickering industrial lights. In this rugged refuge, Kai Mercer moved like a living force of nature. His steps were deliberate, echoing across the vast, dim corridors, as he inspected every corner, every station where engineers, former soldiers, and skilled mechanics converged with one purpose: to defy the alien oppressors. At a central table, covered in meticulously detailed schematics of a state-of-the-art warship, a young engineer named Maris adjusted a holographic display. The shimmering blueprints hovered in midair, illuminating her determined features. Every piece, every circuit, every bolt matters, Kai declared, his voice resonating with conviction that filled the room as much as the roaring machinery outside. He placed a heavy hand on the workbench, his calloused fingers brushing over the intricate designs that promised salvation. This isn't just metal and tech, it's the future of our freedom. The clamor of creation was punctuated by bursts of laughter and fervent debate. In a corner, a group of veterans, their faces etched with battle weariness and defiance, huddled around a repurposed communication console. Their voices merged in a low hum of strategy and shared memories, speaking of lost comrades and the unyielding desire to protect what remained of their shattered world. Amid them, an older soldier, scarred both physically and by memories too heavy to voice, murmured, "We build not for vengeance alone, but for the promise of a tomorrow where our children can see the stars without fear." The warship's design was more than a machine. It was a testament to human resilience. Gleaming hull plates, engineered to withstand the relentless bombardment of alien weaponry, were being assembled with painstaking care. Each component was infused with cutting-edge technology, and the indomitable spirit of those who dared to defy cosmic tyranny. The hum of advanced machinery interwove with the quiet murmur of hope as technicians calibrated propulsion systems and integrated defensive shields, their focused expressions a mirror of Kai's unspoken determination. Walking past rows of workstations cluttered with futuristic tools and salvaged relics of past battles, Kai's mind raced through memories of personal loss and the bitter taste of defeat. Yet, every recollection was a spark, a catalyst driving his vision of a united rebellion. In the steady rhythm of his steps, the shipyard itself seemed to pulse with life, as if the very walls held the echoes of thousands who had dared to dream of defiance. A sudden burst of static over the intercom broke the meditative focus. "Captain Mercer, diagnostics are complete on the primary thrusters," reported a technician, his voice edged with urgency yet tempered by the confidence that only experience can bring. Kai nodded, his eyes momentarily flickering with a mixture of relief and renewed determination. "Excellent. Let's push forward. Every second counts." His command, both gentle and ironclad, rippled through the shipyard like a rallying cry, spurring every hand to work with greater fervor. In one secluded corner, beneath the glow of a solitary repair lamp, Morris delicately adjusted a series of circuits while murmuring, "We're not just building a ship. We're constructing our defiance against a force that thinks it can dictate our fate." Her words hung in the charged air, mingling with the metallic scent and the distant echoes of battle. Kai paused beside her, his gaze softening with the shared weight of loss and hope. "Every circuit, every spark you mend, brings us closer to reclaiming our future," he replied, his voice imbued with both pride and the unyielding promise of rebellion. The shipyard, a crucible of ingenuity and sacrifice, bore witness to the transformation of despair into determination. Each clang of metal, every burst of soldering flame was a step away from the oppressive rule of Supreme Regent Selor, a step toward igniting a war that would reshape the cosmos. The blueprint of the warship, meticulously crafted and laden with symbolic hope, was the tangible heart of this uprising, a vessel meant not only to carry soldiers into battle, but to embody the unquenchable human spirit. In the final moments before nightfall, as the last rays of artificial light bathed the shipyard in a surreal glow, Kai Mercer stood at the center of it all, a silent guardian of dreams and defiance. His eyes swept over the gathered engineers and soldiers, each of them a warrior in their own right, united under a single banner of resistance. Here, amidst the relentless grind of metal and the steady pulse of futuristic machinery, the resistance was more than a plan. It was a living, breathing promise of liberation. And so, with the echoes of determination resonating through the cold corridors of Seteros, the warship began to emerge, a symbol of humanity's unwavering resolve to reclaim its destiny from the cold grasp of an alien empire. A sudden, piercing alarm shattered the quiet determination aboard the warship, as the void outside transformed into a canvas of chaos. Red warning lights pulsed in urgent rhythm, casting harsh shadows on determined faces, while the deep rumble of the ship's engines melded with the crackling static of the command console. Kai Mercer's grip tightened on the railing of the command deck as his eyes swept across the holographic radar displays, where multiple alien signatures danced like malevolent fireflies in the darkness of space. Without warning, streaks of brilliant laser fire erupted, slashing through the inky blackness. The warship trembled under the onslaught, a living, breathing vessel caught in the throes of its first true test. "Shields up, target their lead vessel. Don't let them breach our line," Kai bellowed into the comms, his voice a blend of steely resolve and unyielding command. The crisp urgency in his tone cut through the clamor, igniting a synchronized flurry of activity among the crew. The warship dove into a deadly ballet of evasive maneuvers, its state-of-the-art thrusters firing with calculated precision. Each twist and turn was a delicate dance with death, choreographed in the boundless theater of space. Outside, the view was a surreal tapestry. Explosions blossomed against the starry backdrop, and the brilliant flares of energy left ephemeral trails that glowed against the infinite black. The air within the ship crackled with tension as the crew coordinated rapid-fire responses, engineers adjusting power flows, tactical officers inputting new coordinates, and soldiers primed for the possibility of boarding enemy craft. Amid the swirling chaos, a quiet moment of resolve emerged on the command deck. Kai's eyes locked with those of his second-in-command, Commander Alina Reyes, a seasoned veteran whose calm determination was as integral to the crew as the ship's advanced shielding systems. In that fleeting glance, unspoken communication passed between them. This skirmish was a harbinger of the battles to come, a test of both their mettle and the fragile unity of their ragtag resistance. The alien scouts, sleek and predatory in design, darted around the warship with uncanny agility. Their formations shifted like ripples in a cosmic pond, each movement a calculated probe of human defenses. The ship's automated turrets roared to life, unleashing bursts of energy that lit up the void in a dazzling counterattack. Yet, every volley fired was met with swift evasive maneuvers, as if the aliens anticipated human strategies and adapted in real time. The intricate interplay of offense and defense played out like a high-stakes chess match in the expanse of space, a relentless struggle where one miscalculation could spell annihilation. Inside the warship, every heartbeat echoed with the weight of responsibility. Crew members worked feverishly at their stations. A technician's rapid fingers danced across holographic interfaces, recalibrating targeting algorithms, while another monitored vital systems with eyes flickering between digital readouts and the anxious faces of his comrades. The atmosphere was electric, each moment saturated with the palpable tension of imminent danger and the fragile hope that their makeshift vessel could hold the line. Kai moved through the command deck, his presence a constant beacon of resolve amid the tumult. The tactile feel of cool metal beneath his gloved hand, the sharp scent of ionized air, and the resonant hum of the ship's core all coalesced into a symphony of survival. "We are not just fighting for a place in space," he shouted over the din, his voice carrying both passion and authority. "We're fighting for our very existence. Every sacrifice, every risk, every heartbeat counts." As the skirmish intensified, the warship's hull shuddered under a barrage of energy bolts. A critical warning flashed on the main display: a breach in one of the shield arrays. With rapid precision, a crew member initiated emergency protocols, rerouting power and stabilizing the vulnerable sector. In that charged moment, the tension escalated into a visceral understanding of the stakes. Failure was not an option. The cold calculus of war merged with the raw emotion of survival, forging a battleground where technology and human spirit intertwined in a desperate bid for freedom. The alien vessels began a coordinated retreat, their retreat marked by flickers of retreating lights and the sudden stillness of enemy transmissions. It was a tactical withdrawal, or perhaps a regrouping to assess the unexpected ferocity of the human counteroffensive. Either way, the skirmish had served its purpose. It had tested the limits of the warship, exposed the vulnerabilities in their defense, and most importantly, unified the crew under a shared banner of defiance. In the wake of the battle's climax, as the echo of laser fire faded into the silent hum of recalibrating systems, the command deck exhaled a collective sigh of relief. Kai stood before the main viewport, his gaze lingering on the distant remnants of the alien force dissolving into the cosmic darkness. The fleeting moments of triumph were tinged with the grim awareness of the war that lay ahead. Each scar, each minor malfunction, was a lesson etched into the metal and soul of the warship, a reminder that their journey into the heart of enemy territory was only just beginning. As calm gradually returned, the crew gathered to assess the damage and fortify their resolve. In the subdued light of the recovery phase, quiet conversations filled the space, discussions of strategy, of the next steps in their relentless fight, and of the unbreakable bonds forged in the crucible of combat. Kai's mind raced with both relief and foreboding. The skirmish had been a victory, yes, but it had also unveiled the enormity of the threat they faced. A glimpse into the dark, meticulously calculated might of an enemy, that would stop at nothing to impose its will. In that suspended moment between chaos and order, as the warship steadied itself in the vast silence of space, Kai Mercer's unwavering determination shone brighter than ever. The battle at the edge had not only proven the resilience of his makeshift fleet, but had ignited a spark, a promise that no matter how overwhelming the force arrayed against them, humanity's fight for freedom would blaze on with indomitable spirit. In the aftermath of the chaotic skirmish, a heavy silence settled over the warship's bridge. The crew, still catching their breath from the relentless barrage, turned their attention to the central holodisplay that had just flickered to life. In its luminescent glow, an alien figure emerged, a being whose presence exuded calm authority, yet whose eyes burned with the cold logic of a long-lived race. The emissary of Supreme Regent Zeller, draped in intricate iridescent armor that seemed to shift with the ambient light, spoke in a measured tone that cut through the lingering tension. "Captain Mercer," the emissary intoned, its voice echoing as if carried on a vast, empty corridor of space. "Your defiance is not a mark of bravery, but an expression of the inherent chaos within your kind. Order is the foundation upon which civilizations endure." Kai stood at the command console, his heart a turbulent mix of grief and resolve. The holographic image of the emissary loomed larger than life before him. He felt the weight of every loss, every sacrifice, like an ever-present reminder of the stakes involved. His voice, though steady, carried the intensity of his inner torment. "Order without freedom is nothing but tyranny," Kai replied, his words deliberate and forceful. "Your so-called balance is merely a prison. We choose chaos if it means we can be free." The emissary's eyes, dark and inscrutable, seemed to scrutinize every syllable. "Freedom," it murmured, "is a dangerous concept when it breeds disunity. Your kind thrives on dissent and rebellion, traits that invite self-destruction. You are blind to the consequences of your actions." A charged pause ensued, thick with the unsaid as both sides absorbed the implications of their words. The hum of the warship's engines and the soft beeps of active systems filled the void between their conflicting ideologies. Kai's gaze shifted momentarily to his crew, faces etched with determination, fear, and hope. He recalled the ghostly images of his lost family, and the countless souls sacrificed in the name of an oppressive order. The memories surged within him, fueling his conviction. "Without the right to choose," Kai continued, his tone rising with both passion and sorrow, "we surrender our very souls. My people have suffered under your reign of calculated control, and no more. Our defiance is not chaos. It is the purest form of life, unpredictable and fiercely beautiful." The emissary's voice grew colder, its measured cadence turning into an austere recitation of doctrine. "The cosmos is not meant for the weak-willed whim of disorder. Our civilization spans galaxies because we adhere to laws that transcend sentiment. Your rebellion is an affront to the universal order, an act that imperils not just you, but every form of life that seeks harmony." At that moment, a flicker of static disturbed the transmission, as if the channel itself hesitated to bear witness to the ideological clash. Commander Alina Reyes, standing silently at Kai's side, exchanged a brief weighted glance with him. The tension was palpable, a delicate balance between diplomacy and the imminent threat of all-out warfare. Kai's eyes narrowed as he replied, "Harmony built on subjugation is a hollow illusion. True unity is forged in the fire of freedom, in the trials we endure together. Your laws have strangled the spirit of a people who only seek to live, love, and dream." His words resonated through the bridge, carrying the echoes of countless sacrifices and the unyielding human spirit that had built their battered world. For a long, agonizing moment, the emissary's calm facade betrayed a hint of uncertainty. "Your words," it finally said, "carry the weight of loss and the fire of rebellion. Yet passion without structure is the precursor to ruin. Consider this, Captain Mercer. If unchecked, your defiance will unravel the very fabric of society." The philosophical duel escalated, each sentence a parry in a battle of ideals, where no weapon was tangible, but every word struck with the force of a star's explosion. The hollow display flickered as if reflecting the turmoil on both sides, a silent witness to the collision of principles, where freedom wrestled with order in an epic struggle that spanned light years of difference. Kai's internal struggles surfaced in the timbre of his voice. I have seen what your order brings. A cold, unfeeling universe, where even love and hope are regulated. I have lost everything to your balance. Today I stand not only for myself, but for every soul that refuses to be diminished by your unyielding grip. As the debate reached its zenith, a warning siren shattered the tense exchange. The alien fleet, reformed and emboldened by the unresolved conflict, was preparing to breach the defensive perimeter. The ideological confrontation, once confined to words, now bled into the realm of imminent violence. The emissary's final words, delivered with a tone that blended both finality and foreboding, echoed in the charged air. Then prepare yourself, Captain Mercer. Let the true cost of your so-called freedom be measured in the currency of chaos. With that, the holographic figure dissolved into a cascade of light, leaving Kai and his crew standing on the precipice of the next battle. The dialogue had ended, but its repercussions, raw, painful, and resolute, resonated deeply within every heart on board. In that moment, the war between order and freedom was no longer a matter of philosophy. It had become an unstoppable force, destined to reshape the cosmos in blood and light. The void of space roared with the fury of impending war, as the warship plunged into the heart of the alien armada. Every panel of the vessel shuddered under the weight of energy bolts that streaked like furious comets against the inky black. In the command deck, alarms blared and lights danced wildly, painting the faces of the crew with alternating shadows of fear and resolute determination. K. Mercer, at the helm, felt each thud of the ship's hull as if it were the beat of his own heart, a relentless reminder that survival hinged on every decision made in these critical moments. Outside, the cosmic battlefield unfolded like a chaotic symphony. The alien fleet, vast and inexorable, advanced with a cold, mechanical precision. Their ships were sleek, sinister shapes of dark alloy that glinted menacingly under distant starlight. Against this formidable backdrop, the warship's array of weapons erupted in a dazzling, violent ballet. Laser cannons flared with bursts of blue-white brilliance, and plasma torpedoes streaked out, their incandescent trails carving arcs of hope in the surrounding darkness. The air itself seemed charged with the electricity of conflict, a palpable tension that hummed through every fiber of the ship's structure. Inside the vessel, the atmosphere was a blend of chaos and calm. Engineers and tactical officers worked feverishly at their stations, voices overlapping in a desperate chorus of commands and status updates. Divert auxiliary power to the forward shields, a technician shouted, fingers dancing over control panels as data scrolled by in rapid succession. Each member of the crew was locked in a battle not just against an external foe, but against the creeping dread of inevitable loss. Yet amid this pandemonium, there was a strange beauty in their unity, a silent promise that every sacrifice made now would be the seed of future freedom. Kay moved among his crew with the surety of a captain who had weathered countless storms. Every command he issued was measured, every glance he exchanged with his officers a spark of mutual understanding. Steady now, hold the line, he bellowed, his voice a beacon of strength amid the tumult. His eyes, scanning the swirling chaos of space, caught sight of an alien vessel closing in too fast, a deadly predator in the cosmic dance. Without hesitation, he adjusted the ship's trajectory, dodging a barrage of energy blasts that rocked the vessel violently. In that moment, the warship became more than a collection of metal and circuitry. It was a living testament to human resolve, its every creak and groan echoing the collective heartbeat of those aboard. The battle raged in relentless waves. At times, the scene was one of frantic, heart-pounding action, a kaleidoscope of exploding fragments and spiraling trajectories, where survival was decided in split seconds. At others, it slowed into a contemplative lull, a fleeting pause that allowed the crew to register the gravity of their struggle. In one such quiet interval, Kay found himself alone at a viewport, staring out into the void where stars burned like distant embers. The silence was almost sacred, a moment of introspection amid the chaos. Here, the weight of every loss, every moment of despair, and every hard-won victory converged, strengthening his resolve to push forward, no matter the cost. Back on the bridge, a critical alert shattered the brief respite. A sector of the ship's shielding was failing. The emergency lights pulsed a harsh red as the crew scrambled to reroute power and seal off the vulnerable zone. The tension was nearly tangible, as every second felt like an eternity, the balance between catastrophe and salvation hanging by a thread. "All hands, brace for impact," Kay commanded, his tone imbued with a steely calm that belied the danger. As his crew worked with synchronized precision, the ship absorbed another barrage, the hull shuddering under the strain, yet holding firm. Every explosion that rippled through space, every flicker of energy that lit up the dark expanse, resonated deeply with the crew's shared determination. The warship, scarred yet steadfast, was not merely a vessel in battle, it was the embodiment of humanity's refusal to be subjugated. In every defiant maneuver, every calculated counterattack, lay the hope of a future where freedom was reclaimed from the jaws of oppression. The crescendo of the battle came as the alien fleet, sensing the unexpected tenacity of the human resistance, launched a final desperate assault. Waves of coordinated strikes converged on the warship, transforming the space around it into a maelstrom of light and shadow. Amid this inferno, Kay's voice rang out once more. "This is our crucible. Fight for every moment, for every life that depends on us." His words, echoing over the tumult, galvanized the crew into one final, all-out surge of energy and spirit. In that defining moment, as the warship roared forward into the maelstrom, each crew member became a vital part of a living legend, a narrative of sacrifice and hope, forged in the crucible of war. Every sacrifice, every drop of sweat and courage, wove together a tapestry of defiance against an enemy that sought to extinguish the flame of humanity. The battle was far from over, but as the warship pressed on through the swirling chaos of space, it carried with it the indomitable spirit of those who refused to surrender. In the muted aftermath of cosmic carnage, silence finally settled over the debris-strewn void, a quiet more profound than the thunder of battle. The warship, battered and scarred by the titanic clash, drifted among the wreckage of shattered alien vessels and splintered human hopes. In the dim light of distant stars, every twisted piece of metal told a tale of sacrifice, of moments when life clashed with oblivion. Kai Mercer, his uniform streaked with sweat and remnants of battle, stepped cautiously onto the bridge. The air was thick with the acrid scent of burnt circuitry and the bittersweet aroma of loss, a somber reminder that each fallen comrade had etched their memory into the ship's very soul. His gaze swept over the weary faces of his crew, each person bound by the shared weight of a struggle that had transcended mere survival. The hushed murmurs of relief mingled with the quiet whimpers of grief, forming an elegy for the lives lost amid the fury of rebellion. In a quiet corner of the command deck, a lone holovid replayed fleeting images of the battle, a montage of brilliance and despair that now served as a requiem for the fallen. Kai's eyes lingered on the scenes of defiance and valor, on the bright flash of a technician's determined smile, and on the silent heroism of those who had given their all. As he walked the length of the corridor, every step resonated with the memories of comrades whose laughter and love had been silenced by the ravages of war. Outside, through the fractured viewport, the cosmos unfurled its eternal tapestry, stars glimmering like scattered shards of hope against the vast black. The universe, indifferent yet magnificent, bore witness to the small, fierce spark of human resilience. In that expansive silence, Kai found both mourning and solace. The scars of battle were not just marks of sorrow, but symbols of a defiant spirit that refused to be extinguished. Gathering his crew in the central hub, Kai spoke softly but firmly, his voice carrying the weight of shared loss and the promise of renewal. "We have been tempered in the fires of despair," he said, eyes meeting those of every soul present. "Every sacrifice, every tear and every victory has woven us into a tapestry of unwavering resolve. Though we stand among ruins, from these remnants we will rebuild. We will honor the past by forging a future where our freedom shines brighter than the darkest void." As the survivors began tending to the wounded and salvaging precious fragments of hope from the wreckage, a gentle camaraderie arose from their shared ordeal. Conversations, initially hushed and tentative, grew into murmurs of determination. The ship, though battered, pulsed with a renewed energy, a living monument to the indomitable human spirit that had withstood the onslaught of an alien regime. In the solitude of that reflective hour, Kai found himself alone at the viewport once more. The starlight painted his face with a soft glow, illuminating the lines etched by grief and the spark of resolve that still burned in his eyes. He allowed himself a moment of silent remembrance, a prayer for the lost, a promise to the living, and an unspoken vow to the future. With every beat of his heart, he embraced the truth that even in the wake of devastation, hope could rise like a phoenix from the ashes of despair. And so, beneath the cosmic dome of eternity, amidst the wreckage of yesterday's battles, humanity's defiant spirit took its first tentative steps toward rebirth. The dawn was not yet bright, but in that fragile glow lay the promise of a new era, a future sculpted by the sacrifices of those who dared to dream, and the unyielding will to live free.